What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So we're back to the Jalen Ramsey saga, and we have now basically got to the place where we're going to trade him, right? First, it was kind of some pushing back of like the team saying we don't want to, and he wanted it, we wanted it. He's getting traded. We know that now. The question is, where? So there's two sides to this, right? It's the side that makes the most sense for us, the side that makes the most sense for Jalen. He's under contract, so I think he has a little bit of leverage here. So if I was going through the landscape of teams, and the team that makes by far the most sense is the Commanders. Commanders make the most sense, right? They have a cheap quarterback for the next 4 years. Cheap quarterback. Scary Terry's under contract already. They're basically building the defensive side of the game, right? Their defense was awful for most of the year. Bobby Wagner's 95 years old playing linebacker. They haven't really got the guys in the secondary they wanted. St. Juice to not pan out for them. So they for sure need a cornerback. They got Lattimore, and he just was, I think he was rusty. Because I like Marshawn Lattimore, and when he came back last year, was not good. We saw him, especially against A.J. Brown. It just looked like he was high school against like varsity. It was JV varsity situation, right? So they need a top corner. I think Marshawn is probably in a corner two now. I don't think he's that top dog anymore. And they have the money, and they're trying to win right now. That's the ideal situation. Chocolate City, DC, really good quarterback. Defense needs you for real. You get to be a leader. Him and Bobby will be basically co-captains probably day one on defense. They can actually pay him the money, and you have a chance to win. Because what we don't want to do is probably send him to a team that's not good, and that's like kind of a bad situation. The question is trade compensation. I haven't looked at Washington's picks this year, so I don't know what they would have to give. But as far as on Jalen's side, what would be the best situation? That to me clearly is the best option. Number two, close option, Green Bay. So Green Bay normally has Jair Alexander, who you guys know I love. I do not believe he's coming back to that team. I think there's bad blood there. He's missed a bunch of games. He's been hurt a lot. I don't think he's cool with the direction of the team. Jair, to me, will probably be gone draft night. So now you have a very big void at cornerback. Their defense overall, okay, not great. Need a leader on defense. I think Jalen perfectly fits in there. Green Bay on offense is dynamic. They have a quarterback, decent O-line. They have young receivers that are all cheap. Makes sense for Green Bay. They're also in a tough division where offenses are all over the place. All of them have quarterbacks. They're all trying to, well, we'll see Minnesota. They all have quarterbacks. They're all trying to score, offensive mentalities. You kind of need somebody on defense that can match up with Jefferson, with DJ Moore. You got to have somebody out there for that, and I think he fits there perfectly. The dark horse, and this is what I'm kind of hoping for. The dark horse is the Chargers. So the Chargers normally have Asante Samuel Jr. It does not look like he's coming back to that team. And I don't know where he's going. He's just kind of like floating out. I think Cincinnati probably is going to end up getting him at some point, but they're waiting to see price or draft, whatever. But he's probably not coming back. They had a draft pick a year ago. That was a fifth-round pick who was a starter for them, which is like, cool. We got a starter as a fifth-round pick. That's great. But they don't have that number one top dog corner. We know Jim Harbaugh is all about defense, right? Running the ball, defense. He loves it. He loves tough-minded cornerbacks. If you ever watched Michigan play when he was there, they play bump and run. They all are physical. They all tackle. Jalen is the apex version of what that is. Now, from some of the draft prospects and whatever I've seen from this, I saw the Chargers would be possibly willing to part with the 3. I think that's the most we can get for Jalen at this point. I don't think anybody's giving up a 2. For sure, nobody's giving up a 1. I think it's way more likely teams are offering like a 5th and a 6th, like maybe a 7th and a conditional 4th type thing. If we can get a straight up 3rd round pick, especially in this year's draft where it's super deep at a lot of positions that we need, more on that in a second, I think that's the best possible situation. It's also great for the Chargers. I have to believe they have to win at some point. Justin Herbert can't just be in the league throwing 80-yard passes and then not making the playoffs or getting beat in the first round. At some point, you think they're going to make a run, and they're going to need guys on defense. They already lost Joey Bosa. And so they got Khalil Mack, I think, back for 1 more year. So this feels like hey, we're going to make one more push with this current defensive iteration. Then it's going to be some rebuilding on defense because they spent a lot of money on the offense already. So those are the places that make the most sense for him. For the Dolphins, I think trading him out of conference makes the most sense. So the Commanders probably will work best for us, assuming they give a decent compensation. As far as who would pay the most, I do think it's a team that thinks they're going to win right now. So that could be Washington. That could be a team like the Vikings, who cornerback situation is a little dicey. Could be the Chargers. But if we can get a third round pick, I think that that would be fantastic. A third round pick, you could basically pick in a starter at that point. That fourth, fifth, sixth, I mean, you're getting compensation back, but it feels like you're getting multiple pennies on a dollar. I don't love that, but he's kind of a distressed asset now. We know we want to trade him. He wants to be traded. The league know he needs to get traded. So now you can't be like, it's like trying to rob a bank where you're trying to give money away. It's like we can't demand a ton. It's like, well, we know you have to trade him. So what are you doing, right? If we can get a third round pick, I think it'd be great. I think it's way more likely we get a fourth, maybe a sixth if we can do like a double dip. But it depends on how much people really want to fall in love with him. I think Jalen's got 2 really good years in him, and I think that third year he'll probably start tapering off. So we'll see what happens. Now we got a Chris Grier, I don't know, blitz today. We don't hear from Chris Grier a lot, our GM. When he talks, he gets in his bag. And today he was very much in his bag, right? So they asked him about what are you going to do about all these positions of need, specifically D-line, O-line, secondary. And the way he was talking seems like we're not really going after any more free agents, right? He said this is a great draft because there's a lot of areas of need that we are drafting for that are plentiful in this draft, specifically defensive line, secondary, offensive line. There's a lot of people at those positions, and even if we want a running back 3 or 4, there's a lot of running backs 3 or 4. This is a terrible draft if you want a top-end receiver, terrible draft if you want a top-end quarterback. We're not looking for either. So it kind of aligned for us this time around, right? That tells me there ain't nobody from free agency coming. That's all that told me. When he said, hey, the draft, we're going to get our areas of need in the draft, that told me if you think there's some free agent coming to save us. Now, I mentioned on a few episodes ago, this may be a comp pick situation where we're probably in line to get a 4th round comp pick for losing Calais Campbell. So picking up a free agent would just offset that. If you're still trying to build a team for the long term, a 4th round pick is pretty valuable. You can use that to pick a player. You can pick it. You can use it to move up and down. Totally get it. It seems like we got 10 picks, and if we can probably double up at our biggest positions, so I imagine we're going to draft 2 D linemen, 2 cornerbacks, maybe 2 safeties, 2 offensive linemen, and then like a flex kind of position, maybe another tight end, maybe another receiver, maybe another running back. That's, I think, will be the ideal draft, and you're kind of hoping one of the 2 hit, and if both hit, fantastic, right? But also, you're going to have a much cheaper team, and if you get Jalen off the books, you're going to save money against the cap. So then going into next year, if there's a free agent you want to get, you're now freed up for that. He did say one other thing that was very interesting to me. He said Patrick Paul is our left tackle starter for next year, as of now. And I've not heard him say that at any point. Y'all heard me yesterday. I was like, I don't get how every mock draft I have for the Dolphins has them getting a cornerback or a left tackle in the first round. It never made sense to me. I'm like, why would they do that? They literally drafted a guy in the 2nd round. Why would you then spend the next year a left tackle at first pick? I don't get it. It didn't make any sense to me. That either told me the team was leaking information that, hey, we're not really sold on this guy, or, that was just people just putting stuff out into the universe. So now him coming out and saying definitively, hey, Patrick Paul is our left tackle going to next year. It's his job to lose. That tells me, hey, we're putting our chips where you stand. That's all I said. I just wanted to see him get a chance to get the job. We drafted him in the 2nd round. He wasn't great last year, but he's also out of position. Give him a chance to be a star. Like, that's what we drafted you for. And now we have the GM saying it, and we'll get to more of this on the next topic. That tells me, make some sense about your draft. Like, that also tells me we're probably not drafting an offensive lineman in the 1st round. That's what that kind of told me. Because there's no guard. Like, Booker's probably the top rated guard, and I don't think he's the right pick at 13. I think he's late teens, early 20s maybe. So he may be showing his cards a little bit. Because if his goal is to draft the offensive guard in the 1st round, we're probably going to have to trade back to make it make sense, right? If he's going to draft D tackle cornerback, he's going to have his pick. You're going to have probably cornerback 2 or a D lineman 2 or 3 right there at 13 for you. So that makes the most sense if he thinks that's our biggest area of need. And I think most people think it is right now. But we're probably not getting an offensive tackle. at any point in the draft. If we do, it's going to be super late. So I like where his head's at. I kind of like the direction the team is going, knowing that. And finally, give Patrick Paul some love. And right in cue with that, the offensive coordinator Frank Smith actually gave his own insights onto how Patrick Paul has been performing. And so we're going to give that soundbite now. He says each week he's able to keep building, getting better in pass protection and with his run fundamentals. So it's a guy who's really using his time to grow, and we're excited. We're excited about him really short term and long term and how he's been able to grow. Right? So that's good to hear from an offensive coordinator because ultimately, like that's his main, I guess not boss, but that's his area of expertise, right? I've been waiting to hear anything good about this position until Teron Armstead said anything. I wasn't hearing anything, so I was getting nervous that why would the team not talk about this more? And now, in like a snap, it's all flooding in. Hey, he's our guy. He's starting. He's improving. Everything Teron Armstead said, now it seems like the rest of the team is coalescing around. So I don't know if that's because they don't love the left tackles in this draft and they just feel like, let's give Patrick a chance. Or if they really just love Patrick and like, hey, we're going to really let him give a chance to shine. But I like the idea that we're not going to, in my opinion, waste a pick on that right now. We can definitely, there's so many good cornerbacks and D linemen in this draft that I would love if we just stacked up in the trenches, right? I saw in an article it talked about drafting the way Philly has for the last few years. D-line, D-ends, versatile secondary people. That's what really put Philly over the top, right? They drafted Devontae Smith, but they went and traded for A.J. Brown. They traded for Saquon Barkley. We're not going to do either of those things, right? But drafting Jalen Carter in the middle, then Nolan Smith, then going out and get Bond, then going out and get Cooper DeJean, they get Quenya Mitchell. Like, they built it from the trenches. They built the linebackers. They built the secondary. Those guys are super versatile, so if someone goes down, they can kind of fill each other's blind spots. The Dolphins, the last couple of years, we've had a ton of injuries, but we haven't been deep. So once our top guy got hurt, there's a big drop-off. And if we're going to rebuild the way they did, that's building in the trenches, building on defense, putting high-level draft picks in these players. I'm all here for it. Hopefully we can replicate what Philly did. I would love that parade down in Miami. But that tells me free agency, no go. Patrick, if you're starting, great. We need maybe one guard position if we believe Larry's going to be healthy at the right guard spot. We need one guard position to be filled. We're cool at the other tackle. Obviously, we're great at center. That makes the O-line feel a little bit more secure going to next year. And hopefully that puts a few fans at ease because I know it's been scary out here for Dolphin fans. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. We'll see you guys next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.